Agent 64 is a game that I've had my eye on for a long time. Indies are a great way to fill in a hole left by the industry, a way for games and game types that a group of players want to enjoy new experiences with. But those big developers are no longer interested in those types of games anymore. Indies come in and are able to then curate to those audiences that want those things. Usually the developers of those games are fans of those same types of games that we also want to see ourselves, but they also have that creative talent to then pave the way and produce those new experiences. When done well, we get something that is heavily inspired by those titles that we miss and want to see new ones of, along with having a new voice itself with this new game. Agent 64 is very much shaping up to be one of the best indies I have ever played, and I would be very surprised if the game ends up not being able to nail what it's trying to do. The more I see and the more I play of it, the more I know that this is the right developer for the right game in every way. I want to thank one of my commenters on one of my other videos that helped to make me aware of the new playtest. I cannot wait for the full game, so I was really excited to see that new content for it was playable. When this was first announced and then the demo provided, it looked like it was going to be this new first-person shooter, calling back to the likes of GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, and Time Splitters. I played the demo and was blown away how it felt like those games, now in a new setting and all that. The developer managed to capture very well what we liked about those games and deliver on that in their demo. The promise of getting a new game that was like this now on the horizon. And we didn't just have a trailer, but rather we were able to get our hands on it, what the developer was actually doing. So even in its really early stage, I could see that this developer was headed in the right direction, at least as it pertained to what this particular fan wanted. So yeah, just getting something new in this style as a single player game would have been good enough for me. Now sure, I think when everyone played the demo was like, oh, this is pretty good. You know, it would be awesome if this game had multiplayer, co-op, and all of that. Again, many of those things that those older games also had and the options with them. While not being a game developer myself, I also know that a lot of these options are not easy things to then add into your game, an undertaking for each one of them. Well, updates followed along with more trailers showing that the developer was listening and then expanding on what their game would be delivering on. While not being a game developer myself, I also know that a lot of these options are not easy things to then add into your game, an undertaking for each one of them. Well, updates followed along with more trailers showing that the developer was listening and then expanding on what their game would be delivering on. It would now include co-op and multiplayer. At that point, I was like, take all the time you need, and when it launches, just nail it. And judging by what I have played so far from the recent playtest, wow, I cannot wait for the full game. Agent 64 continues to be a nostalgia-fueled delight.
This is fantastic.
When I started up the playtest, my plan was to just play some of the multiplayer with other players. But then I saw the options for bots. I knew bots would be included, but I wasn't aware that they were in this version of the game right now. So I turned it on and just went into multiplayer, me up against the computer, and I was back to being a kid again. This is what I would play all the time with my friends when I was younger, in delightful split screen. The bots are pretty good. They come with a few difficulty options and skill options too, and they provide a good fight. Gunplay continues to be solid with a nice weapon selection, and the game feels really good on controller as well. I felt like I was right at home. I love when bots are included because the multiplayer can live on and always be active even if the player base is small. Sometimes I just want to enjoy the game with friends and bots, and here you have those options as well, just like you can also play with real players too. Other options are there with what guns you can use, maps, modes, along with other tweaking too. There was even a new level to try out in co-op if you wanted to do that as well. I felt a bit spoiled because this, and then at the end of last year with Timesplitter's Rewind finally getting its first early access release. These older games and styles are going to be alive, and this also shows too that they can still be done very well. This right here, a fantastic example of why I love the indie medium. Now if only I could find an indie developer who loved the old Medal of Honor games to make a new one of those, maybe someday. But right now, we have GoldenEye Perfect Dark-like stuff to enjoy, to remind us of some of the best work from Rare and Free Radical. Well, it's all still alive, and from all of this, it's doing really well.
There's clothes right in the...
I did want to add on too that I was able to spend some more time with the playtest, playing it with a friend. It was after I had written most of the script, so I was inspired to then add on just a bit more when making this video. Playing this online in co-op with a buddy, wow, the magic has been captured and done very well in that respect. It was seamless how the online and getting into a room worked. It was just good. We were able to get to the fun very quickly. The action is great with a buddy, along with any of the problem solving that you would do along the way. We were both having a blast. Like I said before, this is a title that completely transports me back. I will probably dump so many hours into it, and it might even be a case where I end up buying this game for most of my friend group too. As it's also very important to point out that there can be issues, as it's equally important to also lift up titles that we find deserve it. With the swarms of indie titles released every week, so many get lost in the shuffle. Even quality games that just do a good job on a familiar formula. Here we have a shooter that, while it isn't really doing something different, but it's showing through its hard work that they in fact can capture our childhoods in a new, engaging, and most of all, very fun way. While I spent most of this video talking up this game, I do want to also point out there that maybe when we have our launch, there might be some more rough spots or even areas that need improvement in. I understand that very well could be the case. At the same time, those areas that I am praising with this game, when an indie comes around like this, and especially for me, something I connect with so well, it isn't a case where I see someone capturing very well this older style of first-person shooter, but at the same time they understand what made those great ones great, and then now they're adding on to it, adding additional modes, and stuff that I personally would love to see in a game like this. It's like seeing a new title, released right next to Perfect Dark, GoldenEye, or Timesplitters, but Agent 64 is coming out now. We have cases where it would seem the developer shares the same mindset of the fan base of those games, and now they're making a new one. They appear to know how to get it done and make a compelling version of it themselves, while also knowing what the fans want. In a way, we have an indie first-person shooter where it looks like it's going to continue to be awesome with each new update. So when looking at what the developer has promised, and then lets those players try it out and provide their feedback, to me it shows the developer, one, cares about what the fans are saying about it, using all of this as a means to improve their game as much as possible. It helps build hype in a manageable way, where the players get to play the game. The buy-in is rather low, and everyone can pretty much try it, where we have these free demos or playtest requests, and we get to see and actually put our hands on the progress they are making. I am so rooting for this game. I hope that the full game does come out later this year, and as always, I will say I hope the developer continues to take their time and really make it worth the wait. I loved what I've played so far. What are your thoughts on Agent 64? Have you played any of the demos or the recent playtest? What did you think of it? Let me know all of this in the comments down below. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please check out my Patreon page. For just $1 a month, you can help to keep this channel going strong, and this allows me to be able to do more for my awesome audience. Please check out the links in the description and pinned comment for ways to support the channel. And most of all, thank you very much for watching.